It involves Dowd and his crew. So I went to the 75th Precinct to obtain documents, parked my car in the rear yard, and as I was beginning to walk in, Police Officer Dowd is walking out the back door. I look him square as I'm walking by him, and the feeling that I get is perp. But the guy's in uniform, he's a cop. I'm having a problem reconciling this. The feeling that I get is perp. What I begin to do is observations, following them on duty, following them off duty. And it's a very precarious thing to do. Remember, they're cops. If you're going to follow somebody, you have to try to do it, obviously, without them knowing that you're doing it. And it's not like TV. You know, the guy pulls out of the parking space and you're 3 car lengths behind him and they never see you there. Yeah, it just doesn't happen like that. Michael Dowd had a red Corvette. He would pull out of the 75 Precinct and he'd run every red light, looking into the mirror the entire time. So you have to devise another way of doing it. You don't start out at the precinct, you may start out on the conduit. So he's gonna run all his lights and see nobody. And then you're gonna pick him up on the Bell Parkway or the Southern State. Catching a cop by another cop is heartbreaking. If you're a cop and you took that oath, it means everything to you that you represent and that you're correct.
When you take this job, you raise your hand. You take an oath, you say, I will give my life to save complete strangers. And to Michael Dowd, that meant nothing.
It wasn't like you were hurting people, quote unquote. You're hurting a fucking scumbag drug dealer.
Do you know what kind of pain and suffering that money caused on the streets? Do you know how many people's lives were ruined by the drugs that money bought?
In New York, drugs were blamed in last week's slaying of a New York City patrolman.
Bodies of a mother and her 2 children were found wrapped in sheets and blankets.
The victims were tied up and either shot to death or strangled.
Drugs may have been involved in yesterday's massacre of 10 people in a Brooklyn home.
This was East New York, Crown Heights, Bedford-Stuyvesant, all low-income areas. People that were suffering enough for a whole lot of reasons. They depend upon us to keep it safe for them to just do the common everyday thing. Now, I have cops making it possible for this poison to get onto the streets, to destroy people's lives, to destroy entire neighborhoods.
How corrupt was the 7-5?
Top of the line. All the way to the fucking captain.
I used to carry a radio so I could listen to who was doing what. Aside from Dowd, Urel, and Yurku, there wound up being, honest to God, 25, 30 people. Michael Dowd is definitely the brains of the operation.
We started to look for other avenues to make money. We decided to distribute cocaine out on Long Island. We were purchasing large amounts of cocaine from Baron Perez and Adam Diaz.
We used to stop at my house on the way home to drop off the coke.
It was like huge bricks of glimmering primo cocaine in my kitchen.
My wife was disgusted, disappointed. You know, we got enough money. We don't need to be doing this.
Please, please stop.
At this point, we had some nice cash sitting around the 2 of us. So why don't we just back a cocaine operation financially?
We enlisted one dealer and set him up in business.
They mainly had this guy, Harry, distribute it. Harry didn't look like the brightest kid, not slick, not especially smart.
Harry was selling, you know, half a kilo a week out of a bar in $50 envelopes.
There's never enough. There's never enough.
I was
using the undercover name Brian. I had a beard, I had a ponytail, earring. I got information about a subject named Harry.
Money was rolling in. He just kept wrapping it up and putting it away.
Your feeling and your reaction to the fact that indeed you weren't questioned and you weren't in any way caught during the course of all these dealings, did that, for instance, somehow embolden you to do more in this area? Did you feel free about what you were going to do?
First of all, there was times when I was shocked that I got away with so many of these things. I didn't know what stress was. I just lived it.
It's fucking greed.
Also, mind you, I was becoming heavily addicted to cocaine and alcohol. So my inhibitions were down. And some personal problems I've been going through, too. So all that combined, it certainly shocked me. I don't know how sometimes I showed up for work.
I wasn't scared of the money coming in, but the drugs in the car, we're gonna get fucking arrested.
I don't know how Kenny honestly felt about me doing it.
He's becoming wired, he's becoming paranoid.
I don't think it bothered him so much.
On January 2nd of 1992, I made the first cocaine purchase from Harry.
When I went undercover, he sends the coke to the lab, where quantitative and qualitative tests is done on the cocaine. It comes back 95% pure. Somebody who's been pure coke in Suffolk County.
Based on your personal knowledge, why weren't other police officers in your command turning you in?
Because I'm still a cop. Cops don't turn in other cops.
He's doing coke as fast as he could get it from Diaz, is as fast as he's doing. He's probably doing more than he's selling.
Even when the person they're depending on for survival is doing lines of coke in the RMP, is drinking daily to the state that, as you said, you're sometimes a fall-down drunk, even then, they remain silent?
Cops don't want to be labeled as rats. Cops depend on one another to survive out there.
Kenny talked to me one time and said, Adam, Mike is crazy, he's going crazy, he's sniffing coke. I said, what? I know he do his little fucking blow sometimes in a while, but...
Fuck everything, fuck them, fuck this. I'm gonna do what I want. And that's how he lived and worked in the 7-5.
You felt like you were God.
I say, no, he's fucked up. He's fucked up. He's a dope head.
Invincible.
So it's like, fuck, how do I stop this guy?
He never acted afraid. He never showed himself to be afraid.
I consider myself both a cop and a gangster.
That's why I knew he was no good. And that was gonna be the end.
Thought it was getting too close, you could quit. You find out when you're in the middle of the game, quitting ain't too easy. The game keeps pulling you back in. And then you start to wonder, maybe I will get pinched.
One Sunday morning, we go to my parents' house for breakfast. Pack up the kids in my car.
Say hi.
My wife gets in the car. I start driving down my block to the corner.
See a white car, someone in it.
Sitting there on the corner on a Sunday morning is that typical undercover cop car.
I'm like, did you see that?
And I'm watching my rearview mirror the whole way. They pull out from the curb and start following behind me. But I'm not worried. No coke in my house.
I'm like, Ken, they don't need to have a scale and cocaine in the house to bust you for dealing drugs.
It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening. I had seen a couple of cars following me. I knew something wasn't right.
Harry owes me cash. I go out during the night, pick up my money, park in the driveway. I go in the side door. He's
dripping wet. I mean, dripping. We're talking May. It wasn't that hot, and it's night. It's 10 o'clock at night. Dripping wet, and I'm like, something's not fucking right.
I drove up to the precinct. I walked up the precinct steps. I felt the tension all around me. The desk officer pointed, the captain over there wants to talk to you. I turned around. A man walked in with the lieutenant's badge and said, Internal Affairs, we want you to take you for a department audit drug test.
Within 2 minutes, Suffolk County Narcotics slams the front door.
Guys, don't do it. Get down, get down.
Vest, helmet, shield, rushing down the hallway. I'm like, fuck. They throw me up against the wall, they pull my gun out, spread my legs, cuff me up.
As I walked down the stairs to change in the locker room, I realized there's a bunch of, like, plainclothes police officers around me, following me, like blanketing me. So I take my fucking pants off, hang them in my locker, and I go put my civilian clothes on, and I got fucking coke in my pocket. So I'm like, okay, let's put on my pants with the cocaine in it. There's a guy sitting over here I never saw in my life. He walks up and says, Suffolk County Police Department, you're under arrest for narcotics conspiracy. They search my pockets, they pull out the bag of cocaine I tried to unload.
The next picture that you see is a daisy chain of cops is being let out of a precinct in Suffolk County, and they're New York City cops.
There's a police story being told here in New York this week.
The NYPD is under the gun again.
Cops dealing drugs, stealing money and guns, shaking down shopkeepers.
6 New York City police officers charged with conspiring to sell cocaine.
It has become an all too familiar sight in New York. Cops arrested on corruption-related charges.
And a new breed of corrupt cop. None was more notorious than Officer Michael Dowd.
He was dirty up to his eyeballs.
The story of cops and robbers. See if you can tell one from the other.
I was driving into work, and I heard on the radio that New York City police officers had been arrested in Suffolk County. I felt like, fuck, Suffolk County got them? Suffolk County got them.
I wasn't scared. It was almost like a sense of relief hit me. I was like, thank God it's over. Thank you for saving my fucking life. Nothing was off the table with me at that point in my life. It really didn't make sense to me what was happening. I was so used to winning every day. I would beating these people for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. This is just another obstacle I have to learn to get around, and I will. In my mind, I was going to get around this.
Here we are out on bail. It's about a month after our arrest, mid-June sometime, facing 25 to life for drug trafficking charges.
It was in my insistence that we try to develop a plan on how to minimize the damage at this point. There's a Colombian living in my house in Brentwood. He said, leave the fucking country. You're doing 25 to life in the state if they fucking hammer you. You're done. You're done. He knows I'm in a spot. Comes to me and says, are you interested in doing a hit at this woman's house on Avon Street in Queens? There's a drug lord whose wife is holding on to a large sum of cash and cocaine that they owe this Colombian that's staying in my home.
So the plan is to grab this guy's wife, kidnap her, grab any money and drugs in the house, turn her over to the Colombians for execution.
What's in it for me? He said, there's several $100,000 in cash and at least 10 kilos.
He has this whole plan to flee bail.